I'm starting a couple minutes early. I just want to give people time to roll in. Oh wait, I'm gonna turn the Wi-Fi off on my phone because really we are really biting it that close with the Wi-Fi. Okay, how's everyone doing? Have you guys been enjoying the panels all day? I don't know, some of you might not know. I've been posting this on like my Instagram and stuff, but there are actually other people streaming in conjunction with the Techo Fashion track. We are doing our virtual con. Oh boy, okay. Hello everyone. I think we're gonna wait like 5 minutes-ish to make sure everyone gets here before I start. I have lots of material I want to get through. We're gonna go through it really fast. I was like, I only need half an hour, and then I realized I need like 3 hours to explain everything. So if anyone has any questions before we start, feel free to type them out in the place that you do that. This is my first stream. Is it obvious? Can you guys hear the heater going? If you can hear it, let me know. I'll turn it off. It's cold. I'm in Texas, but it's still cold. Yeah, I hope you've all been doing well. I hope all of you are well. I actually got a test for COVID-19, and I'm waiting for a phone call to tell me whether I'm gonna die or not. It's kind of dark. But yeah, I think we're gonna go over. I have a bunch of materials back here. I have a bunch of my favorite equipment. All of it is down with my Amazon link. I added it in. I don't know if that's how people do it on Twitch, but I used like a little picture, and if you click on it, it'll take you. No dying allowed, thank you. You too. Stay well. Wash your hands. Use a mask if you have one. But yeah, so I have all my favorite like equipment, and if you support Amazon, if you don't, I don't think. My personal opinions is in your personal judgment, that's up to you, but I put the whole wish list on Amazon, like the whole list of the stuff I recommend, and then you can go buy it elsewhere, it's up to you. But if you buy it through my storefront, then you support me, but you know, if you don't want to support billionaires, I fully support you in that. Yeah, and then I have, after that, I'm going to be going straight into a second panel, which will be about making stuff. I have a whole nother setup right there. Yeah, I think we're just waiting for people to trickle in. I don't know how this works. I can't see how many people are here at all. Can anyone explain this? I'm 33, there we go. I guess I need to do a whole like phone and computer situation. This is so confusing. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, let me know. The world switched a little weird. Oh yeah. It's a little weird. Yeah, I have 3 minutes, so I don't know, what should I talk about? I started doing photography specifically to do self-portraits, actually. I did, you know, costuming, like avant-garde fashion, like wearable art, stuff like that for a long time. And it was hard to wait for photographers to get back to me. I didn't have money to pay photographers, and photographers, it's hard work. It's my full-time job now. Well, it's my main job now. So it's hard work. They deserve to get paid, but I didn't have the money to do it. So I was like, I'm gonna do it myself. So I started just learning from trial and error, learning from YouTube, the all-powerful teacher of today. And that was, I think, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, back a long time ago. So yeah, I think we have like 2 more minutes. I just want to make sure that people get here before I start. I have like so much I want to say. I have my little list. If anyone else is, the list only has 4 items, but if that gives you a hint as to how scatterbrained I am, yeah. But we'll be using my lovely model. I don't know if you can see it here. I hate the mirror thing. Here is like a live stream from my camera. You can see I got my camera set up right here. My computer and my camera is right back there. Yeah, and then I'll be showing you the basics all the way up to some moderately advanced stuff. So if it's too easy for you, it might get harder, but if you're a professional photographer, this probably is for you. Yeah, the software I'm using right now actually comes with Sony. It is Sony's like remote tether for a computer. It's free, but every like Sony, Canon, they all come with their own little like thingamadoob. Some of them costs money. When I had Nikon, it tethered to my phone. It was pretty cool. Yeah, I like the Sony one because I don't know, it seems more convenient. But yeah, if you have a DSLR, just look up, you know, remote tether for your brand, and it'll come up. It's extremely useful because when you get a higher rated DSLR, like if you have a full frame camera, which just means it has more pixels, it has a bigger sensor. So if you get like more and more advanced cameras, you won't be able to have the flip screens. You won't really be able to see what you're doing. So it's much better that way. Yeah, I think we have like 1 more minute. Okay, it's 1:45. I'm just gonna start. Hello everyone. I hope you're having a great day. So we're gonna start with basic selfies things that you can use while you're using your phone. Things that will just improve your portraits, taking of yourself. Yeah, we're just gonna start with those things. So. And then we're going to get into using a DSLR, my favorite equipment that I use while using a DSLR and things like that. So, first thing I recommend getting whenever you're doing selfies, self-portraits, anything, is the remote. I am shocked by the amount of people that don't have a phone camera remote. This is also on my Amazon storefront. It's down below if you want to click the link, but it is... I literally keep this on my keys. It costs 20 bucks, but it comes with a phone tripod and this remote, and it is Bluetooth. You just turn it on. The battery like hasn't died for me in years, and it works for almost every phone, I think. You can double check the description, but literally you go into your Bluetooth and then you select this. It's called the Zodiac Pro. You turn it on and then you can take pictures. You just click the little remote. I do this like every time I take selfies. I remember, I think this might have been like 2-3 years ago. Technology changes so fast, but people would ask me, how do you take pictures of yourself? Who took this? I'm like, seriously? You have to get this. Simple, easy thing. It's really small. It's great because it's really, so far it's indestructible. Sometimes when I take pictures and I don't want it in the frame, I'll just like click and like throw it. Maybe don't do that. Yeah, so this is highly recommended. Also, there are so many cool phone tripods you can get. So many people don't have this. This seems really easy, really simple, but it literally is a lifesaver. And there are things that can just fold up that you put like in your purse. I highly recommend like any phone tripod, anything. This will change your life. I travel all over the world. I used to travel alone. And it's a rough time. Not like, you don't want to ask someone to take your picture. You gotta be brave. Use tripod. Really easy stuff. I really like this one. I like Frankenstein, a bunch of them together. They each like screw into each other. So this is one I put on my light ring. It's really obnoxious. I really don't like the tentacle arms, but really it's a matter of preference. So tripod, remote, you're like on your way. The next thing I would definitely say if you're doing just like selfies in your room is get a light ring. It is one of the best sources of light, period. Especially with phone selfies, ways that you can't use flash, use a light ring. It is beautiful. It is what is on. If you want to look at this, I'm so bad with this. If you want to look at the kawaii bear, that's his name. It's on his foot, right here. If you want to look at this, the only thing I have on him right now is the light ring. Yeah, that's all that I have on him, and it's like nice, even light. It's really nice for, I'll get in the frame. It's really nice for making sure you don't get any shadows, because I think some people are gonna, I think some people get self-conscious about like the shadows that are cast on their face. Like some people are like, why do I look bad in this photo? Like, why does this look weird? Why do I have like bags under my eyes? Most of those things are just because of the light. Most of them can be solved by having a nice, even light all around your face. Oh my goodness, I have so many messages. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh, I throw my remote all the time. So, some phones have a stylus, and if you have a phone that has a stylus, I'm jealous. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Tripod, amazing, amazing, yes. So another tip, especially, this all like might seem obvious, but sometimes it just doesn't, you don't think about it. The front facing camera on your phone is way poorer quality than the back facing camera. So if you can use it, use this one, use it. I usually use the front facing one because I want to be able to see myself, see what my poses look like, but if you trust yourself, use this side. Okay. Light ring also in the Amazon list down below. It's like $100. Honestly, I've used it. I use it for clients. Like I use it for high-end clients. I use it all the time. It is so bright. Here, let me turn it off just so you can see. Okay, I have this light on too. Here's no light ring. We can look at the DSLR. The DSLR, the frame with the bear, that's way more trustworthy than the webcam. No light ring. Light ring. It already just is like way better. So this other light that if you want to get something fancy, it's not really fancy. I think these are, the two of these are $150, I believe. Might be cheaper. But if you want to experiment, this is still with your phone. If you want to experiment, I don't know if you've seen those photos that are like red, blue colors with the lights. This, turn that away. This is a RGB, you can't see with the webcam. We're gonna turn off that. This is a RGB, like it can do any color LED bar, and that's actually the only light that's on my face right now, if you can see. It's pretty bright whenever you do just the whites. There we go, that's its brightest setting. But you can also go into RGB and you can change all the colors. You can make it any color you desire. Yeah, I recommend these. There's like they're like a knockoff. They're like a knockoff of these high-end lights called ice lights, but even those aren't RGB. These are Yongnuo, super cheap. I've dropped them. They still work. Love these. They're great for a fill. So if you have the light ring on. So if you want to look at the DSLR, look at the DSLR feed right now. If you have the light ring on, but you want to throw some more light on your backdrop, look at that. So you just have the light ring, and then look at that. Big difference, big difference. It really helps. That's what a fill really helps you do if you want to lighten up your backdrop. Or, you know, it's a stylistic preference. Maybe you want to pop against your backdrop. But yeah, I do a lot of photos with having two different colors on either side to really like give it that artistic flair. But oh no, hold on. I had the heater on and the light started flickering. It's fine. We're drawing a lot of power right now. Okay. Let me think. I think that might be. Oh, a last couple of things. We're gonna move to things that'll work for. I love that back. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I made this backdrop. It is. I collected flowers throughout the years. Joanne sales and eBay. It's my pride and joy. Oh, another tip for backdrops. Thank you for reminding me. This backdrop, this one, the colored panels, I highly recommend this. I think it's super cute. I don't know. This is just a free idea. Take it. But there's like 20 more panels. This is like 1/4 of what they give you, but I like to set it up, shoot against it. They have like all different colors. They have black and white. They have ones with shapes. They have so many different ones. It's like the easiest backdrop. You can put it on the ground. You can like take it apart, stack them together. It's fantastic. So these are fairy lights. You've probably seen them in the like super Instagrammy, cheesy kind of shots, but I really like them. Add some like intrigue into the shot, as you can see in the DSLR feed. Yeah, they're really cool. I see people like do shots with them like holding them like this. I don't really get it. But to each their own. I really feel like they're supposed to be used like this, to kind of give, or like if you're shooting in the city and you want to like have lights, I think it's cute. This can be used, it can't be used on a phone super well. Here, I'll put it up to the webcam to show you. It can't, things that are like webcam, cell phones, things that have, or like that sort of lens doesn't work very well. But when you're using DSLR, it works great. Next thing. And this is, hello. This is kind of transferring, this is the like, these are like creative things that you can do. This is getting more into DSLR territory. So now I'm going to show you about prisms. These are, I've seen so many super expensive prisms. You do not need to buy expensive prisms. Go to eBay, type in chandelier pieces, and get them. It's literally easy. It's cheap, it's easy. This one is actually a photography specific prism, but I just don't feel like it's necessary to get the expensive prisms. I think it's a scam. So if you want to look at the Mr. Bear, this one does a very specific effect. It reminds me of like a spider's eye kind of situation. I think it's cool. It really only does one thing. But you can get a different kind of prism. I have dropped this before. As you can see, battle damage. Yeah, this provides like, it takes some getting used to. It like takes some finagling. Breaking it actually made it look way cooler. I'm not condoning, like I'm not recommending that you break glass, but I will say that I'm not mad about it. So you can kind of see, let's see what we can do. It takes some, okay, there we go. You can get some cool effects. I'm gonna make this bigger, how about that? I'm gonna give Mr. Bear some more spotlight. Oh no! This is fine. Okay. If that falls, it's not a big deal. We're gonna take this way. You have served your purpose. Thank you. Thank you for your service, Color Wall. Okay, so you can kind of see, it's like takes some finagling. Yeah, it can give you some cool patterns. This is really weird to do live. But yeah, so it really gives you cool patterns. You've probably seen it. It can give you some reflective things. It's worth the investment. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The lag is real. The lag is real. Oh no! I don't know how to fix the lag. I'm sorry, guys. Hopefully it's not that bad anymore. Yeah, the wall decided it was done. It was done with life. But yeah, so those are prisms. They're cute. You know, these are things to just like spice up your selfies. Now we're gonna get into other lights just real quick. I really recommend this light. Yeah. So this light I really think This is the light I actually started with. So if you're not willing to spend like $100 on lights, this is a super easy one. I think this is also in my Amazon thing. This is like 40 bucks. But they're like these little lights that can really just help a little bit. A lot of selfies that look fuzzy, it's just because it's not getting enough information, like it's not getting enough light. So just throw in these. I highly recommend these. These are like 40 bucks. I'll put them down below. I did my research on like all of the little tiny lights. And there's like so many sources out there that's like, this one's the brightest, this one's the brightest. And I guarantee you that this one and the other one I have are the brightest. I spent like hours looking, so I will put them in my Amazon. Okay. One more thing I'm going to say before I get into the mechanics of a camera. A screen is super useful. If you do not have a tether to your laptop, I'm sorry guys, it's so laggy. Sorry. If you don't have a tether to your laptop, these are so useful. So you can just put it in the hot shoe of your camera and plug it in, and it'll show what you are doing. This is so useful. This is what I was using before I had a tether to my computer, and it made such a huge difference in my photos. Especially when you're wearing contacts and lashes, it's like impossible to see your tiny little camera screen. So this is super useful. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a couple things that will affect your photo whenever you're using a DSLR. When I was learning how to use a camera, there were so many sources and so many videos, and every time I clicked on a video and it was like an hour and a half long, my heart broke because I don't have that attention span. But I just want to show you guys like super quickly, really simply explained, that I feel like I wish someone would have told me when I started. It's really not that difficult. Like if you're shooting on auto, it's not that difficult to do manual settings, and I just want to show you real time exactly what they do. Is it still lagging, guys? Let me know if it's still lagging. I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. So I think I might just turn off my camera. Video capture device. Not as much. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay. Okay, so on Mr. Bear. Can you tell that I'm a noob? Alright. So we have a light ring on Mr. Bear right now. Let's try it. We have a light ring, and we have these certain settings over here. So teacher time. Oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Okay. So there are 3 kinds of settings in a DSLR. There's ISO, shutter speed, and f-stop. These are the only things that you need to know. I just realized this is going to be mirrored on the camera. Can you guys even read this? The whole point is that ISO will be the sensitivity. It's the light sensitivity. Back whenever people used to use film cameras, you would buy specific ISO film. So you would buy like 100 ISO. It was like kind of the sensitivity. So if you just think about it as like brightness, sensitivity to light, that's all you need to know about it. There's lots of science behind it. There's lots of physics behind it. But if you think of ISO just as light sensitivity, you're going to be golden. The shutter speed, I don't think it's going to work. The shutter speed is how fast the shutter is going to close. Just like, it'll be open whenever it's taking the camera, and how fast it closes, you can imagine if it stays open for longer, more light gets through. So if it stays open for longer, it'll get brighter. So let me show you that in real time. So ISO, if we turn that up, you see it immediately gets brighter. Oh, you can read it fine? Okay. So ISO, you can turn it up, it gets brighter. You turn it down, it gets darker. Really straightforward. It doesn't change anything about the photo at all. It is just light sensitivity. It doesn't change how the photo looks except for light. And then like I said with shutter speed, It's how long the shutter stays open. So if I turn the shutter speed to faster, so this is measured in seconds. So if it's open for 1/200th of a second, or 1/320th of a second, it'll be darker. And then if you open it for longer, it'll be brighter. Really simple, really straightforward. It's not as complicated as everyone makes it out to be. The only problem with this is if you leave it open for longer, then like if you're moving, it'll get blurry, right? So if it's open for longer and your arm is moving, it'll look like a blob. So if people are moving around, it needs to go faster. And so those are two very straightforward things. The last thing some people are sometimes confused about, and so that's why I really wanted to demonstrate it in real time. I'm going to move Bear over here. I wanted to demonstrate it in real time so it's super obvious, super straightforward. How much time do I have left? Okay, I got time. I got like 5 minutes. So the last thing is f-stop. So you got ISO, brightness, shutter speed. It just stays open for longer. You can also consider it to be, it'll just let in more light. F-stop is, there's a little hole in the camera, and it's how wide the hole is. Not how fast it closes, but how wide the hole is. And you would think, oh, if it's open wider, more light will come in, it'll be brighter. And if it's closed more, it'll be darker. Easy. But there's one thing that it changes, and hopefully you'll be able to see it here. So if we take the f-stop and we close the aperture, you can see it's getting darker. But it also changes something about the portrait, and I want to show you. If I turn the ISO back up so you can see. Let's compare f-stop. Oops. Let's compare like 10 or 12. I want to make sure it's super obvious. So if you look at the backdrop, you can see these flowers pretty clearly. They're not like out of focus. Even if I focus on the bear, you can see the flowers pretty clearly. But if we go to like if the f-stop is, whew, so bright. But if we go back to the f-stop being like at 2.8, we're going to turn the ISO down to compensate. The lag is so real. Okay, now you can kind of see, hopefully, if you focus on the bear, the setting is so blown out. But you can see that the background is blurry now. So because the aperture is so wide, the background becomes blurry. So when you see those like really cool portraits with like the background being all blurred out and the bokeh, like that's why. You want the aperture to be way open. Sound it bring it up. Okay, great. Yeah, you want the aperture to be way open. I'm trying to get in the frame. If you want the background to drop out, if you want it to be blurry back there. So those are the only 3 settings, and I find some people are really afraid to use manual. We're gonna take the bear away. Yeah, I'm afraid some people are afraid to use manual because it seems daunting, but really it just comes down to those 3 things. ISO, light sensitivity. This is extremely, extremely simplified. So if you're like a phenomenal photographer, this is way too simple. But ISO, light sensitivity, shutter speed, faster, darker, and also sharper. And then f-stop is just the aperture. Yeah, if you can, I would like write that down to myself and like had to remind myself which way was which. But if you really just play around, it's super, super simple. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Oh, I had one more thing I wanted to cover. Am I out of time? I think I have like 2 more minutes. Yeah, I have like 2 more minutes. One more thing that's super important with portraits is I just wanted to cover really quickly. I found these like super cheesy pictures on Google. And I think that they're really important for photography. Okay, so We're going to start at the bottom 2. We're going to do this really quick. 2 panels, so you face it. Okay. So the bottom 2 are, the 2 things are called leading lines. This is all about composition. So if you have leading lines in your portrait, something that you can imagine it like pointing towards your subject, pointing towards yourself. Yeah, if you're like on a stairway, like these 2 things are like kind of stairs and like architecture. Those are great things to find. If you can find leading lines, then that will always make a good portrait. And the top 2 are rule of thirds. These are things that you can just like go and look up on your own if you want to like study how portraits and why portraits look good. So the top 2 is called rule of thirds, and if you imagine splitting your portrait into thirds, you want to lay somewhere intentionally along those lines. So if you see a portrait and you're like, oh, why does this look balanced? Like some people have a like innate ability to make things look good, some people don't. So if you need to study it formulaically, these 2, rule of thirds and leading lines, are really great places to start when you're wanting to like get pictures that really pop and have great composition. It's not just like a innate talent. It takes some people like years of studying to figure out how photos can look intentional and beautiful. So it's really something that you can learn. It's not like you just don't have it or you do have it. Oh no, we're having issues. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I think that is my time for this panel. I'm going to be doing, I think I'm going to restart the stream to see if it works more. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to unplug my camera. I'm going to exit out of all of these things. Hopefully that will help. Is that better? And now I'm going to transition into, I'm going to like go over there and I'm going to talk about making things. If you guys have any more questions about photos, about the ways I take self-portraits, about things I'd recommend, let me know. I'm going to transition into talking about making things. So, if there's any questions, please let me know. It's perfect now, no lag? That's fantastic. Wow. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna move my equipment. Seems so unprofessional. I guess like Twitch is pretty chill. I've never done Twitch before. If anyone has any suggestions. Thanks so much. Great. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about crafting, like sewing, different things you can do and like making fashion and costumes and things like that. If you want to know anything about my equipment, let me know. I'm going to take this off. Every time I have to move my camera, especially while it's on a tripod, it messes with my nerves. I also have a specific strap that I use as like a small woman. It's a specific one that goes across the chest. I'll link it. Here we go. You'd love tips on posing effectively? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do another like self-portrait stream that's like 2 hours long. Because I wanted to fill out my board. I wanted to explain the science. If anyone likes science, I'm a physics major. I love the physics behind photography. It makes it like so much more beautiful to me. We're literally moving like right here. We're gonna a lady strap, yes. No, it's for all people, but the strap is I'll show you. Ba-da-ba, I'm here. This is my strap. It goes across the body like this, and like this like situation, it hooks up, and it's really great at distributing the weight because back when I had my silly noob strap, it would just go around the neck and my like huge camera would just hang. It was painful. It was not a fun time. It was not fun. But yeah. So now we're going to talk about making things. If anyone has any questions. Gonna have to move everything back. What are you? Thank you. Yeah, I made 2 backdrops. I figured it'd be helpful. Let me situate this camera. I don't know how to do this. Okay. Here's my making studio. Welcome, it's a whole other place. Okay, what are things you pick, you have to pick? Including my camera? Oh, you mean like I can pick 3 things besides my camera? Okay, I would, honestly, so the lens has a lot to do with it too. So my camera, my 24-70 lens, 3 like miscellaneous things. I would pick my softbox. I didn't even have time to go over softboxes. It's super important. I think I'm going to do a whole nother stream about photography if you guys want to join. I might do it later today. Maybe I'll just do it after all of this, after this is done. After the Techo stream is done, I'm going to be on my channel just talking about photography, talking about making stuff. So I can answer all those questions later. Yeah. But yeah, I'd probably choose my softbox, my camera. That includes my camera. That's so hard. Portraits. I think props. Props are super important. I'd bring flowers probably. Okay. How did you do the cool stained glass stuff? Okay, so this is what I'll be doing now. I can answer questions about how I make stuff. So I was prepared for this question. I get this question a lot. So, stained glass. So this stained glass window right here. Let me apply some of those concepts we learned. This is not working like I wanted it to, just for the record. Okay, here's stained glass right here. This one. I was gonna use a fill, but that's not gonna happen. I live in a small apartment, so this is really. So here's a stained glass. I used for this one. It is 3D printed structure. So the black parts are 3D printed. I'm gonna pick up the camera. Is that a thing? Is that a thing I can do? I'm gonna take you guys with me. Okay. This black part, oh my god, this black part is 3D printed. It's plastic, and then it's glued onto a clear acrylic. I'm so sorry, everybody. It's glued onto a clear acrylic circle sheet. The same thing that this is made of. The black parts are not 3D printed on this piece. They are laser cut. So I found like a vector image. So much physical exercise, guys. Okay, too many carrying things. I'm like this big. I'm like 110 pounds and so out of shape. So that one at the base, the structure is 3D printed. This one, the structure is a laser cut. I can answer your questions about those 2 things also, like all day. But that's the basics of it. And then I used this thing called gallery glass paint. I don't know if I recommend it. It's the only thing that I found that works. I didn't see any other brand that did the thing that I wanted it to. You just paint it on, it dries translucent. You can see my face through it. The shin guards, I don't know if you saw my stained glass costume. The shin guards were a little dark against my skin. Like if I put it against my skin, it's not very nice. If the light shines through it, it's really pretty, but yeah, that's what I used. I can link that stuff too. I'll put all of the stuff I say I'm gonna link in my Amazon storefront. So gallery glass paint, clear acrylic or pet egg plastic, and then the structure on this was laser cut. All you need for that is a vector image. Then they have a laser cutter at like your local makerspace. And then, yeah, this part is 3D printed. Okay, you should use UV resin. I thought about using resin, but it was like, it wasn't as clear. And also I wanted to like mix colors. Resin was a little bit harder to mix. Like it has like a specific, like there's a time you have to catch it when it mixes well, and if not, it just like, I don't know. Okay, let me scroll back. Okay, how do you make the cool stained glass? I usually wear mine on my shoulder. Yeah, you wear around your shoulder. Yeah, that's why I like the strap. You don't know what I'm talking about. Guyomi. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's why I use the strap across. Agree the back. Oh, thank you. Excited for making things. You should use UV resin. Yeah, the resin, it's like you have to catch it at a certain time. Gallery glass is easier, and also I could do it in my like bedroom. I didn't have to like use a respirator. Yeah, I will try that. Plebo? Interesting. I did some experiments. I did some experiments with resin on the stained glass. It would have maybe worked for that piece, but for this piece, as the black is not raised, I don't know if you can see that, the black is actually engraved. I put black acrylic over it and then wiped it off so the black would stay in the crevices. Yeah. So resin it wouldn't stay on the certain parts because there's no like boundary keeping it, because the black is inlaid, not like extruding. That makes sense. Okay. Does anyone have specific questions? I'm just gonna like go over different kinds of things. Some of this might be elementary to you, some of it might not. This is 3D printed. It looks ugly because it's just straight off the printer. You can see like it still has like structure filament in it. But yeah, this is 3D printed. I don't know, 3D printing like 3 years ago was like a cool new thing. Now I feel like everyone has a 3D printer. But as you can see, you can see that it's not. Do you have a 3D printer? I'd recommend. I don't. There are so many. I don't know what that means. There's so many types of 3D printers that for different things. Yeah, I would not recommend. I have a lot of 3D printers I would not recommend. But that's only because they've made me very angry. But 3D printers now, yes, actually, more than buying a 3D printer, I would recommend going to a makerspace, testing out their printers, using their printers, figuring out the software. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. And also just doing your research. If I find a printer that I absolutely love that never fails, I'll let you guys know, but we might all be dead. So, okay, so this is 3D printed. It has little lines in it, as you might all know. It's like a glorified hot glue gun. It just goes in around at the shape and builds up layer by layer. So that's 3D printing. I do a lot of things that are 3D printed. For example, slow gremlin. This guy is 3D printed. However, the print lines are not as bad because I used. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's true. 3D printers are so frustrating to me. But yeah, the print lines aren't as bad because I used filler primer. So you can go to like Walmart, any store. There's like nice ones and there are less nice ones. I use cheap one. You can just spray it. If you take acetone and you wipe the print all over, it'll kind of smooth it out, make it glossy. Use a respirator. This is my post 3D printing process recommendations. Acetone. Use a brush, put it over it. It will melt plastic, so be careful what you pour it in. Maybe use metal. Use metal if you can. So pour acetone, paintbrush it over the 3D print. I'm like losing my voice. And then you can use filler primer. And then you can take sandpaper, knock it back, and that can turn this into this. It works. You can still see some print lines, but I think it's good enough, especially for like wearable, like fashion purposes. If you have like little accessories, I think it's good enough. Yeah, experiment with acetone. I highly recommend, but use gloves. It is basically what is a nail polish, so it can melt your nails. Just be careful. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna talk about resin printing if no one has any questions. So this is resin printed. I love resin printing. Who doesn't? What is a makerspace? Yes, a makerspace is, yes, I actually started my own at my college. I started a makerspace. It is just a space with stuff you can make stuff with. There's one in most cities. Some are better than others. I would just keep in mind, if someone asks you what you're doing, maybe don't respond. They can be very snooty. Nail polish remover equals acetone. Yes. Yes, acetone, yes. It's not only nail polish remover. Acetone, nail polish remover has acetone. So also there's some nail polish removers without acetone, but it's maybe something that you're familiar with. So a lot of makerspaces, some have positive, yes, what are you doing? Making art, you wouldn't understand. Or like that like meme where he's at Home Depot and he's like, I know more than you. Yeah, makerspaces have different vibes. This is my warning. I love some makerspaces. I love things. I fully support makerspaces. However, I've had a lot of people come up to me and try to like teach me something, and I'm like, I do this professionally. Like, I don't want to sound cocky, but like, I know. Thank you for your help. But unsolicited advice is just always rude, in my opinion. So resin printing. Resin printing is great. They have resin printers at some makerspaces. So these have like no print lines whatsoever. The basis of resin printing is it's resin that can be cured with UV light. So just imagine that there's resin in a little pool, and then there's something projecting into the resin. It's probably removable. Projecting into the resin. Yes, mansplaining. There's lots of mansplaining that happens at makerspaces. There's a pool of resin, and then the UV light, projects a two-dimensional like pattern onto the resin, and then it does the next layer, and then it does the next layer, and then it just sort of builds up. But because it's resin, there's not really print lines. They're very, very hard to see. So you can see like the detail on this. It is freaking gorgeous. I love it. Man, this does not want to focus on the thing. Now I understand makeup YouTubers. Anyways, but yeah, it's beautiful. It's fast. Yeah, resin printing. Highly recommend. What else? Oh. This is two different mediums. Here's like a fashion piece that I made. It's like a little corset. I made it for my like avant-garde like bee piece. Yeah, so these are two methods that I love to use. This is laser cut, and then it is also gold leafed. If no one has specific questions, I'm just going to talk about my favorite ways to make things. So this is laser cut, and then you can see it's like super shiny. Love shiny. If you look up close, it's like, it's not perfect, but it is like, oh, thank you. I was like, what did you link? Yeah, it's not perfect, but it has like a sort of antique feel. I also, this mirrored camera is messing me up. also did these that are gold leafed and laser cut. So you can see the border is gold leafed. Yeah, and then the middle part is like airbrushed on the back. So laser cut, thank you so much. Talk about the hive behind you. That is 3D printed. I'm gonna do laser cutting first. So laser cutting, you just need a vector image. You just need a vector. And then it will cut out a two-dimensional piece. You use acrylic. You can use certain, thank you. You can use certain kinds of plastics. Some plastics you can't use in a laser cutter. Some you can. If you use them to make your space, they will help you. They will show you. You cut it out, and then if you use a heat gun, you can heat form it. You can make it change shape. That's how I made it like a corset. You can see I heated it up and just went like hot, 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 and pushed it onto my body. It was uncomfortable. How do you make them curved? Heat bend them. Yes, yes. Lots of time heat bending. And then you paint it after. Paint it after. I always forget. Paint it after. After you heat form it. It will not look good if you paint it and then heat form it. But so the gold leaf, I use a spray adhesive. It's 3M adhesive, I think, sprayed on. And then I have in my Amazon gold leaf. It's really actually pretty inexpensive. Yeah, it's pretty inexpensive. You just stick it on, wait a little bit, and then you brush it off. It is the easiest paint job ever. I love gold leaf. I use it all the time. Use it on my face. I use it when I cook. You can eat it. It will not hurt you. I put it when I made chocolate truffles. I love gold leaf. Makes you feel fancy. Fancy. Let's see. What else? How do you attach what you're wearing? Do you... yes, I make my own vectors sometimes, and I can also find them. You can look up Thingiverse, and you can just like Google, I want this as a vector, and you'll find it. But Thingiverse is a great resource. The waist piece? This thing, I made this vector. It took, yeah, I made this vector. I made most of the vectors. This one my friend made. Oh my god. I will never get used to it being mirrored. This one my friend made. He's phenomenal. Yeah. This one is 3D printed. The blind buttresses. So yeah, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Look on Thingiverse. They have lots of stuff. They have lots of fashion stuff. They have lots of stuff like you can use around the house. My voice is dying. Yeah. You are welcome. Yeah, I'd say my favorite things to use overall is different thermoplastics, because like 3D printing, laser cutting, for example, this fork it's a layer of PVC that's just been heat formed. My friend did it for me, and it's been heat formed and shaped, so you can cut it out. You can, yeah, I love thermoplastic. Let me see what else. I recommend, the way I make things is I see if it's been made before. I have a tendency to want to I have a tendency to want to like reinvent the wheel and like make it all myself, but if you can find it already made, usually it's cheaper and more worth your time. Like a 3D model, anything, but it's really satisfying to make your own models. Okay, let me see the questions. Will this be uploaded? I think yes, it will be uploaded later. Also, illustration Photoshop is sometimes okay. Yes, very true. There's also like online PNG to vector resources. Sometimes they cost money, sometimes they don't. There's a lot of stuff you can find online. I use Centra. Yeah, I use Centra. Yeah, I think the fork is Centra. Yeah, I have a lot of stuff that's Centra. This wheel is lagging. Yes, I like to reinvent the wheel. But it's a waste of time. Don't do it. You have better things to be doing. Yeah, like, I think a lot of things I make, I have found and then changed. For example, my koi pond, The tutu part, the base skirt, I found on eBay. It was just a hoop skirt, and then I had to like kind of alter it to make it stick straight out. Anything that you can kind of finagle into working, I think it's worth the time. I make a lot of stuff out of like recycled materials, like this head. Oh no! This head thing, these headphones and a record and like tapes and stuff. It's not only price effective, but it is environmentally friendly if you use recycled materials. How do you attach 3D printed pieces to outfits? Great question. Okay. So I do a lot of like, I'm gonna bring some string and wire to the con and make sure it works, or a photo shoot or wherever you're wearing your outfits. Make sure, hope it works. But there are better things you can do. So a lot of stuff I make, this isn't 3D printed, but I have holes in, and that's not a good hole. Here we go. Yeah, I have holes in and I use string, but it's always, always, always better, always, 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 to plan an attachment mechanism into your print. So you just attaching stuff to plastic, it will always be like a brittle bond. It's way better to like have a hole going through it or something like that. I have, where's my heart? This, I literally used Velcro. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It worked okay. How do you 3D print bigger pieces like the Beehive? You have a bigger print bed. Like this window was, each of the pieces were 3D printed. It was printed into like sixths, and I had to super glue it together. There is an amazing industrial style, thank you. There's amazing industrial strength super glue on my Amazon storefront. I highly recommend it. It's here, it's right in front of me. I'm gonna grab it. It's literally a lifesaver. My friend recommended it to me, and honestly, if I fell apart, I would want this to put me back together. So this is the super glue. It is phenomenal. Please sponsor me, Bob Smith Industries. And then there is a catalyst that you can drip onto it and make it cure instantly. So if anything breaks while you're like shooting or anything, like it works on fabric, if like your dress is torn, do not, actually maybe not, don't get it on your skin, but it will fix it if you're desperate enough. I highly recommend this. It is in my Amazon storefront below. I love this. It gets hot whenever you put the catalyst on it, not like super hot, but like something you, like comes out of the microwave, like it gets warm. Be aware. It's a chemical reaction, but it's not that dangerous. Highly recommend this. So that's what's keeping this window together. But if you can, like this one, oh, actually, this is one I didn't use. But the ones that I actually used, they had a cutout in the back, and they had a metal plate. Wish I had an example. They had a metal plate back here, and then they were holes here, and I had screws, and I put them through a belt. Like I use a lot of belts that have like the grommets in them, so I can put a screw in it and then screw something on the other side and wear it. That's always a great method that I've found. Like half of my like elaborate outfits use belts with grommets underneath it all to keep it on my body. Yeah. Experimentation is always a great thing. I found when I first started, I had so many times that I was wearing something and being like, I hope this works. I hope this doesn't fall off, but now I'm like, I want to know that it's going to work. I want to know that it won't break. It's just so stressful when you get like a really cool outfit together and then it breaks. It's heartbreaking, honestly. I want to make sure I'm not out of time. What time is my stream at? I would keep forgetting. 3:45. We have like 6 minutes. How do you make the window stay on your head? Great question. I wish I had done a better job at the time. It has holes drilled in it, and then it has wire connected to a headband. You can see this is a headband. And then the headband went through my wig, like through the little holes in my wig. Really using like the holes in the wig, if you can put something like flush against your head and then under the wig, and then you can like use snaps or something to snap something on the outside of the wig. That is a great method to keeping something really sturdy. Yeah, I really recommend that. This was really nerve-wracking. If this fell, my heart would have been broken, and it almost did. So, but yeah, I like to put things in my wig, like get it in there. If you're using your natural hair, your skull, another good option. Yeah, let's see, what else? Oh, here's something that's resin. That's resin. We were talking about resin. I got about 5 more minutes, yeah. So this is resin. If anyone has any questions, please let me know about photography and making stuff, or general questions. Yeah, so this is resin. I made a little crown, did like a little ice queen outfit, and then I did this for my goldfish outfit. Yeah, I 3D modeled the basic model and 3D printed it. It was flat, and I 3D printed it, put it in silicone, poured the clear resin in, and then I molded it while the resin was still curing. But yeah, here's an example of something that was resin. It's crystal clear. I love this. Yeah. Here's another thing that's resin printed. A little gargoyle. Yeah. Oh, this was fun. I hope everyone had a good time. That's the goal. Thank you for representing me. I appreciate it. Oh, I have my koi fish, which is an example of something that's 3D printed too. I highly recommend it for all applications. Yeah. Any other questions? We have like 3 more minutes, 4 more minutes. I want to make sure that people have answers to their questions. Yeah. But if you want to do you have anything that works for more looks, or do you always plan new stuff for each look? I usually make like a look from scratch, and then like I make stuff that's more like costumey, and then I will like do casual versions of it, if that makes sense. Like I will be like, oh, today I'm gonna wear like this goldfish headpiece, but I'm gonna be like a casual like pond. So I will use things. I make a whole outfit, and then I will like pull pieces later. Do you have any recommendations for a good starting DSLR? Yeah, I started with the Nikon D5500. Anything that's like, I would say, look at reviews, honestly. But like I liked that camera. I would say like anything of the Nikon like professional series that's not full frame. I liked Nikon. I started with Nikon. I'd say they like lower end cameras are still really great. I was making money shooting photography even with a crop sensor, but I switched to Sony just because the mirrorless is just lighter weight. How do you scout for locations to shoot? I will be driving, and then I will say, oh, look at that, and then I will put a pin on my Google Maps. Yep, that's the whole thing. Oh, also, I forgot, because this is on my thing, you can always get a remote for your DSLR. I recommend that, getting a remote for your DSLR. And I like this one because it has a 2-second delay one, and then an instant one. So I click the 2-second delay, and I like throw it, so it won't be in the shot. Can you get an older version? Yeah, get it like a refurbished camera. I almost always get my stuff certified refurbished, just because, like, if it worked for professional, if it worked for professionals like 5 years ago, it's like good enough it's good enough for me. Yeah, technology goes quickly, but cameras, like, I'd say, also, we're gonna upload them to Facebook and Instagram anyway, so there's not always a huge noticeable difference in quality. Yeah, I'd say get something that's good, something that works, something that won't break the bank. And if you start doing it professionally, like I invested like several $1,000s into my camera equipment, but I started with a $500 camera, and it worked for a long time. So yeah, cameras, if you treat them well, they will treat you well. Just love them. Any advice to make pictures better? I recommend getting, okay, I think I'm just gonna do a whole like hour long talking about how I take selfies on my phone and camera to make them look good. I can go through my whole process. I use mobile Lightroom. It is phenomenal. Practice, yeah. But I can show you guys before and after. There's only so good that a phone camera can make it without editing, and Adobe Lightroom, it is so much better than all of the other editing apps. Like, I think a lot of the editing apps like just take the photo, make it brighter, darker, make the saturation, but Adobe Lightroom, it is just like professional. It's just like on desktop Lightroom almost. It is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. Yeah, and how to pose, yeah. I think I can just go onto my stream. Like, we're on my stream now, so I think now my time is up. Thank you so much for having me. I think, yeah, I'm gonna just probably, I think they're gonna stop hosting me, and then I'll be on my own stream, Yvette's Niche, on my own Twitch. So unless you're already there, you can see me there, and I might take like a couple minutes break, and then I can just start streaming it again, talking about selfies and stuff like that. So, thank you all for having me. Yes, thank you. I hope you all are having a great day. Stay healthy. I don't know, how does this work? Okay, I will be back on my channel in like a couple minutes, okay guys? Thank you so much, and let me know if you have questions. Yeah. Bye guys, thank you.